Pwede na? Okay na? Okay na? Okay, the first session of the 20th City Council of Cagayan de Oro City. Please rise for the opening prayer of Councilor Agasuan, to be followed by the national anthem of the Republic of the Philippines, followed by the March Cagayan de Oro Band. Please rise.
Hello. Let us now be aware of the holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord Jesus, you said that when 2 or 3 gather in your name, you are in their midst. Lord, we acknowledge your presence. You are here. Grant us strength and guidance. Bless our Vice Mayor. Give her wisdom that she may be able to preside this council well. Give strength to the majority. Give confidence and hope to the minority. Lord, we ask for your gift of speech so that we may eloquently be articulate in our discussions and the expression of our ideas in our arguments. And Lord, always remind us that we do all these for your greater glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Thank you so much. Please be seated. In this session, may I ask the Secretary, Mr. Arturo San Miguel, to do the roll call and to determine the existence of a quorum.
For the
By
roll,
calling the complete names, full names, and members of the 20th City Council of Cagayan de Oro City.
Honorable Jocelyn B. Rodriguez, City
Present.
Vice Mayor and Presiding Officer. For the First District Councilors, Honorable Agabito Heriberto G. Swan, Honorable Roger G. Abaday, Honorable J.R. Pascual, Honorable Aimee Rose P. Moreno, Honorable Romeo V. Calizo, Honorable George is Goking, Honorable Jose Pepe S. Abu Jr., Honorable Malvern A. Esparcia. For the Second District Councilors, Honorable Ivona Yasini B. Imano, Honorable Maria Lourdes S. Gaani, Honorable Joylen Mercedes L. Balaba, Honorable James K. Judith II, Honorable Ian Mark Yunakaya, Honorable Edgar S. Cabanlas, Honorable Christian Rostico M. Achas, Honorable Josette G. Magtahas Daba. For the ex-officio members, Honorable Yan Lam is Lim, Liga ng mga Barangay President, and Honorable John Michael El Seno, City SK Federation President. There is 100% attendance, Madam Chair. There is a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Quorum of the first session is hereby certified. Honorable, good afternoon. Honorable members of the 20th City Council, good afternoon. Welcome to our first session. On this inaugural session, I welcome everyone who are witnessing the session of the 20th City Council of Cagayan de Oro City, pursuant to existing laws. I am enjoining everyone to observe the proper decorum while the session is going on. In this council, I will ensure that this legislative body will be democratic, inclusive, discursive, and deliberative, freely exchanging different ideas for the common good. Please let us have this council harmoniously. Before we start the session, greet each other. Your left counselor, your right counselor, at the back of your counselors. Please greet everyone. Hi, higala. Tindog man yun si Okay. Okay. So, murag gituyok yun si kuan, attorney. Nasubraan. Kaya gituyok. Okay. Okay, once again, welcome to our first session, honorable ladies and gentlemen of the 20th Council. First item, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Arturo San Miguel, please read the first item of the agenda.
Going into our business of the day, item number 1, proposed resolution number 2022-1, prescribing the rules of procedure of the 20th City Council Sangguniang Panglungsod of Cagayan de Oro to govern the conduct of its business. Please refer to Appendix A and Appendix A-1.
First agenda, there is a proposed resolution number 2021-1, prescribing the rules of procedure of the 20th City Council of Cagayan de Oro to govern the conduct of its business. What is the pleasure of the body? Attorney Joey Abu? Councilor Joey Abu, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon. Madam Chair, I move for the approval of the prescribed resolution number 2022-1 prescribing the internal rules and procedure that would govern this 20th City Council. Appendix in the said agenda as Appendix A-1 and also can be referred into in pages 19 to 40, Madam Chair.
Second. Seconded by Councilor E.B. Imano. So are we going to have a long discussions? Discussions? Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to my colleagues in the City Council. You know, I have seen history in politics in Cagayan de Oro. Now I am seeing the future of politics in the city of Cagayan de Oro. I have seen the future leaders here. Madam Chair, there was a motion for the approval of that House rules. May I suggest that since I think we have read the proposal of the minority bloc, which is Appendix A-1. And we have also read, I assume, the proposal of the majority bloc, which is Appendix A. Now, in order to save time, after all, this is just the rules of the House. And when I read the proposal of the minority bloc compared to the proposal of the majority bloc, I have not seen any big difference. It's just a matter of procedure. And to delay the approval by tackling this issue one by one, we will be making these people wait for a long time, and we might go home 10 o'clock in the evening. So therefore, I propose that the temporary procedure that we should follow is to select which of these two proposals we should adopt. Now, the chair will be allowed to state before the council the issue and ask those who are in favor of proposal number 1, which is Appendix 1A. Raise your right hand. Wait, I'm not finished. Then we will vote on that. With that, if that would prevail, the voting would be in favor of the proposal. Then automatically, ipso facto, it follows that the second proposal will no longer be tackled. That's only a proposal, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Cabanlas. In fairness to everybody, okay? Thank you. That is a very good point, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. I am allowing discussion in this body to be fair to everybody, to the minority and to my majority. What is the pleasure of the body now? Attorney, Councilor Joey Abu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The proposal of the good Councilor Edgar Cabanlas is also very good. But since he mentioned that there is just perhaps a minor difference between the version of the majority bloc and that of the minority bloc, may I also suggest, Madam Chair, that perhaps we can, instead of proceeding voting as to which version should be adopted in this body, maybe perhaps we can also meet some representatives from the majority bloc and that of some of the representatives of the minority bloc, and perhaps discuss the provisions, and so that maybe perhaps later on we can agree and we can iron things out, the provisions. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Joey Abu. Councilor Attorney James Judith.
Madam Chair, the Honorable Vice Mayor Jocelyn Bebot Rodriguez, to my esteemed colleagues in this august chamber, and to the people at the back, at the gallery, and the people of Cagayan de Oro, sa inyong tanan, maupay. Councilor Cabanlas proposes that we go face to face, meaning we compare the internal rules of procedure as suggested by as proposed by the majority, as well as that of the internal rules of procedure as proposed by the minority. But as already mentioned by the good presiding chair, that there is a need to further discuss the matter as this is momentous. This will govern the conduct of procedure of the 20th City Council session. We cannot just, we need to discuss the whole thing as to the internal rules of procedure suggested by the majority and the internal rules of procedure suggested by the minority. We need to go over each provision, each section, so that everybody would have the chance to be given an informed to be educated as to the matter, because remember, this will govern the way we conduct things, the way we conduct business in this council, the 20th City Council, for the rest of our term up to 2025. And we cannot just go about it by simply tackle the whole thing in as a whole. We need to go over the whole thing, each provision. We need that spare, we can spare time. But remember, the local government code, or RA 7160, provides for 90 days from the date that we convene. So why the rush? That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor James Judith. Councilor, you are recognized. Councilor Ayan Achas, you are recognized.
Hello. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies. Madam Chair, I am agree with Konsehal Attorney James Judith. We need to discuss further the rules and regulations of our rules and regulation in this chamber, Madam Chair, for the reason for the protection of the minority. We would like to clarify, Madam Chair, now we need to protect the minority. Although we know that majority ruled over this session, but it is the responsibility of the majority to take good care of the minority, to have freedom to discuss deliberately about the rules and regulation for the protection of the minority. That's why, Madam Chair, I move to discuss every provision in order to provide us equality during the legislation. Madam Chair, I beg to move that the discussion of the enumeration or deliberation of the provisions of our internal rules and regulation should be deliberately discussed within the members of this council. That would be all, Madam Chair.
I second the motion.
Okay. Seconded by Councilor James Judith. Councilor Ayan Mark Nakaya, I cannot see you. Probably you can move a little bit the table.
Thank you very much, Madam Presiding Officer, Vice Mayor Jocelyn Rodriguez. Kamay pagkakaroon konsehal na. Councilor Evie. Thank you very much. I would like to think that when each member, either belonging to the majority or the minority, when he or she signs the proposal submitting the House rules of the City Council as provided and as written, that he or she has agreed and among the members of the bloc. In other words, there is already an intent of each member in this august body, and at the same time, the conviction to stand firm as he or she would be submitted with a decision, whether or not the signed proposal of the House rules, either submitted by the majority or minority, is already a done deal to the block, Madam Presiding Officer. And if, for example, the proposal is for the members to deliberate either in toto or in every section, I am missing a little fact. Kung di day confident sa proposal na gi-submit. Our rules, while we don't have any yet, that is why I understand that Councilor Ed Cabanlas has proposed. So to simplify and to abbreviate the proceeding, because we already signed our respective proposals as to which version that the City Council should adopt its own house rules or internal rules of procedure, the submitted document of the majority block or the submitted document of the minority block. For us in the majority, and I understand that we are in consensus that we already understand in wide extent of comprehension that we are 100% amenable to the document that we have signed and submitted to the City Council through the City Secretary. And if we go down the lane having deliberation for each provision, it would give a signal to our fellow Cagayanons that we are not ready yet, and we are not yet, and we are admitting that what we have signed as our proposal to the City Council as our house rules are not sufficiently enough for us to stand as our conviction will provide in this council, considering that this is the inaugural session of the City Council. It brings about delivering signal, Madam Presiding Officer, to our fellow Cagayanos, our readiness, our conviction, our understanding of what lies in the proceeding of the council, and we have been provided more than enough, more than 48 hours. As a matter of tradition and rule, the City Secretary have provided the same tradition and rules to each member of the council to read, understand. That is why, if, for example, again, the minority would push that each provision should be read, deliberated, we call upon the parliamentary procedure to govern the proceeding, Madam Chair. In other words, if there is a proposal duly seconded, if there is an objection, let's proceed with the voting, and we go back to the original proposal. Whether the proposal of Councilor Abo is prevailing because it will get the majority votes, or the proposal of Councilor Ed Cabanlas will prevail, getting the majority votes. So I submit, Madam Chair, if the presiding officer will admit a motion, let's proceed to the parliamentary procedure requirement. The motion, the second, if there is an objection, let's divide the House. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Ayan Mark Nakaya. I have said that we can have discussion first, as I have promised that everybody will be given a chance to speak. So I will be very fair in this session this afternoon. I'm calling for from the majority who raised the hands a while ago. Now, I want to be fair to everybody. Councilor Abada, you raise your hand? Okay, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Presiding Officer, Vice Mayor Jocelyn Rodriguez, members of the distinguished 20th Council, our friends who are watching us today. Now, we are all professionals and intelligent people here in the members of the City Council. I would like to disagree or disabuse the mind of Councilor Atsas that seems that branding the majority want to dominate this 20th City Council. No, sir. We always respect and protect the rights of the minority and all of us here. But of course, under parliamentary rules, democratic country, majority always prevail. You have to respect that. Now, Madam Chair, let's back to the issue. I support the move of my colleague, Councilor Ed Cabanlas. In order to be fair and to be just, as you have said, that you should be fair, and we should follow the correct procedure as adopted by universal procedure in parliamentary. There were two issues, agenda, A1, A, and that's one, internal rules or procedure. It's also unfair that the minority will insist that we will adopt their proposal. And we have also our proposal, the majority. So this calls the decision, the wisdom of the presiding officer, which now I beg to disagree that we will have to go word for word, comma to discuss this internal rules. In fact, this was sent in advance, I think 3 days before. So as I think it is presumed that all of us already have sensed what is the text of our internal rules to be adopted. There are minor changes, but if this not be observed, this might cause some hindrance later on when we proceed our official proceedings here, Mr. Chairman. So there was already a motion, Mr. Chairman. There was an objection. I think we have to follow the standard rules, although we have not yet, and we have to follow the rule, and we have to, the chair must have to decide, to rule, to decide whether we have to go to voting or switch of which. So let the body decide now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Roger Abaday. As I have mentioned again, everybody will be given a chance to speak. Why in a hurry? Okay? So, my point of view is, once there will be no more raising of hands, then that's the time we decide. Attorney Joey Abo, Councilor Joey Abo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, as what I have understood under parliamentary rules, Madam Chair, there is this motion made by me a while ago for the adoption of the said proposal. And it was also duly seconded. We are still in the stage of discussion and deliberation, Madam Chair. And I think under the parliamentary rules, the House cannot divide. There can be no motion to divide the House until such time that the discussion period is over yet. We have to discuss first the main motion. And secondly, Madam Chair, Councilor Ironmark Nakaya said a while ago that both blocks, the minority and the majority, have their own versions, and it was already done deal. Precisely precisely the proposal of Councilor Edgar Cabanlas and also mine a while ago, Madam Chair, that since there are differences in some of the provisions, and if I may be allowed to cite, just like in the proposal of the majority, section 15, in which it states there that ex officio members, wherein it is only the vice mayor and the majority floor leader who would become members in all the standing committees. Where in fact, also in our version in the minority, we include there the representation of the minority floor leader. And in fact, we also we made reference to the internal rules of procedure of the 19th City Council, which was, I believe, approved by perhaps majority of the members of this 20th City Council. We just made some changes for also the representation of the minority. And also, if I may be allowed for the last time, Madam Chair, under Section 50 of the Local Government Code, it states there that the Sanggunian has the power to formulate the rules and procedure, which is what we are doing now. There is a recommendation on the part of the majority and that of the minority. And personally, Madam Chair, I do not believe that it is done deal. Precisely my recommendation a while ago, that since there are differences, minor, as per Councilor Ed Cabanlas, that there are some differences in some of the provisions in the proposed resolution of the majority and that of the minority. Perhaps, maybe, we can discuss through a caucus and perhaps iron out things. And so that maybe in the next scheduled session, we can expedite the proceedings in adopting the proposed resolution for the internal rules of procedure. Since anyway, we also, under the law or the local government code, we still have 90 days to adopt an internal rules of procedure to govern this body. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilor James Judith, you are recognized.
Madam Chair, I understand the sentiment of Councilor Nakaya, as well as that of Councilor Abaday, that as well as that of Councilor Cabanlas, that they don't want to delay the approval of the internal rules of procedure. Let me be very clear. The local government code itself provides that we have 90 days. So why the rush? Second, Madam Chair, if they wanted action on the internal rules of procedure so as not to delay, what I cannot understand, Madam Chair, is why the majority had to make changes in the internal rules of procedure adopted by the 19th City Council. So since they made changes, it is also incumbent on our part in the minority to agree also to some changes, whether we could reconcile the amendments or the changes that they're introducing as well as with that of the minority. So that is why if they want the internal rules of procedure to be adopted now in this session, then my suggestion would be for the majority to adopt the previous 19th City Council rules of procedure, internal rules of procedure or house rules. But again, they made changes, and the changes are not minor, but significant, substantial, Madam Chair. And therefore, the need to go to a caucus so that the majority and the minority could reconcile the differences or the changes that they introduced with respect to the version of the majority as well as with the version of the minority. So we cannot just rush into making a decision and dividing the House. Again, as already stated by Councilor Abu, the rules of procedure, there is a pending motion. And what the majority is saying is they want to divide the House now, considering there is a pending motion. And so that is the order of business. That is the rules stated in the rules of procedure, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor James Judith. Councilor Girly Balaba, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. I have to disagree with our fellow councilor, the previous speaker, for using up the 90 days as mandated or required by the DILG to come up with internal rules. This is just an internal rules and procedures. 90 days, that's 3 months. And we have to discuss for 3 months because we cannot proceed to other matters if we do not have this house rules and procedures. So if we have to do it in 90 days, there are other important and urgent matters to be discussed. So that is why I agree with my fellow councilors, Councilor Cabanlas and Councilor Nakaya and Abaday, so as to expedite, we have to divide the House this afternoon.
Thank you, Councilor Girly Balaba. I am calling for Councilor. You raise your hand, Ibi Mano. Councilor Ibi Mano. Okay, I'm calling for Councilor Melvern Esparcia.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the acknowledgement sa akong mga kaubang mga kagawad na nasa likod. Sa tanan mga nananaw karon, mayong hapon. Allow me to speak in Bisaya, Madam Chair, para maklaro kung ano din yung sa din itong diskusyon karon. These house rules, mauni ang Biblia nga atong buhaton diri sa konseho. On my own understanding, I already received the agenda since Saturday. I compared both house rules and as Konsehal Cabanlas said, naalan daw mga minor, but for me, Madam Chair, dili minor ang changes na ilang gusto usabon. And if you try to check, kani galing house rules that they were using in the 19th City Council, nana po sila gidugang na po nga revise. And as per nga akong nakita sa atong revisions for the house rules that we will use for the 20th City Council, nakita nako na naay fairness, we practice the transparency and democracy, and the way I look at it, that's why mayroon ko nga, kailangan nato ning i-discuss tagsa-tagsa para wala tay, kung sa bagay, kung nakita na to that we feel nga fair man ni among gusto nga revision, din walay problema. Ang katawhan dapat may bawaan nila kung unsa di ay ang gusto nato nga may tabo. Because again, these house rules na atong gibuhat karon, dili ni siya basta-basta nga nipili ilang taog duha ka sudan sa restaurant, Madam Chair. Nga kaniya kung ganahan kaniya. No, because kani nga house rules, mao na ni siya ang mag-govern kanato for the entire nato diri nga paglingkod. That's why, Madam Chair, para nako atong padayunon nga tana, ato i-compare unsay revisions na ilang gusto o ang atong gipakita pod na may tabo para at least naman lang makita na to kung fair ba yun ni. Daghang salamat, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Malvern Esparcia. Councilor Edgar Cabanlas, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think we are deviating from the issues now. At hand is a proposed resolution approving the these house rules, and there was a second, and then we are supposed to be on the debate stage. But there are subsidiary motions, which are also important. The motion of Kagawad Councilor Joey Abo is to have a caucus that would amount to a deferment of the approval of that resolution now. So it needs an approval of the City Council, and it does not need any debate. So where are we we're talking a lot of things when we're not supposed to talk a lot of things. There was a subsidiary motion to call for a caucus, and that I consider as a deferment. Now, if that will be voted in favor, then there will be a deferment. If it will be voted against, then we will continue with the debate. And then this time we can use all those observations that you have seen in the two resolutions and two proposals. When I propose for to have a system of voting by selecting which of the two we are going to favor, I'm not saying that we will not discuss anymore the issues or the things that you want to talk about. But the purpose of that subsidiary motion is to trigger a debate, but not to make so many subsidiary motions. We will be get lost in the maze of arguments, Mr. Chairman. So let's go back. There's a motion, and then there was a subsidiary motion on my part that let's follow this procedure. Let's choose which of the two, because after all, the original, the house rules of this body of the majority block is more or less the same with that of the 19th City Council, which has passed the test of time. In fact, the Vice Mayor then used this kind also of kining atong gigamit nga rules. The father of Joab also used this kind of rules. Tanan halos naa naman na. So let's go back. Let's go back to the main topic. Let us not inject additional and confusing motions. We are supposed to be at the stage of debate. And after the debate, we call for an amendment. If there are amendments, then we argue again. Naman na, kung doon na kami gusto i-amend, kira gihapon. Now, Madam Chair, I just want to help in following the proper procedure of Parliament. We are not supposed to talk. We are not supposed to talk, all of us. That is why there is a minority, there is a majority floor. Why? Because if we will allow that, we cannot finish our job. We are supposed to line up speakers. If you are in favor of this, then you have the majority will end up speakers 3 or 4 or 2 or 1 or none. The opposition will line up speakers. And they will not be allowed to speak again many times. We are supposed to be at the most speak 2 times. Twice only. Hindi kay kada 20 ka balik-balik. And we are talking the same thing and issues. Mabungol ta na. So let's go back to the proper procedure. Kung katong ani Joey nga kuana gini nga na may proposal, if you want to defer it, then move for a deferment. Ayaw pa ingon nga ka lang magtawag sa tag-caucus. And that's not the proper way. So and we will vote. If your motion is killed, then we will continue our debate. Kung kana talk about the specific things you want to change. Dili kay ming kalamon, dili mao ni, dili mao na. Tao na magtubag. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. I understand, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas, but yet, why in a hurry again? We still have to continue the discussion when everything is exhausted. No? Let us give, especially those who haven't speak yet, a chance kung naapay discussion. I'm calling for Councilor Ayana Chas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the great lesson of democracy is to learn for the majority to give the minority the free opportunity to discuss their sides. That's why this is a legislative body, Madam Chair. I agree with Konsihal Edgar Ed Cabanlas. It is okay to amend. That's why I would like to move the idea of Attorney Ed Cabanlas to discuss further the new sets of rules in this legislative body. Madam Chair, the intent is equally important to be discussed, because it is not only minor changes according to our fellow members of this council, but rather these changes, Madam Chair, is a ruling body that will govern the 20th regular council. That's why, Madam Chair, it is wise to move further to discuss and deliberately to open up in public the changes. Angay na siguro, Madam Chair, nga atong discussan and changes so that the public will know asa gikan ug unsay mga changes between the 19th and the 20th internal rules and regulation. I believe, Madam Chair, that this regulation should be carefully discussed and deliberately discussed. For me, Madam Chair, it is no longer necessary to defer this discussion, but I believe we should discuss it now so that we can move further. That's why, Madam Chair, I would like to move to discuss our provision by provision in order to the public and the people of Cagayan de Oro, the revisions that we entered into our internal rule regulation of the 20th City Council. That's why, Madam Chair, I believe it is wise for us. I would like to request all the majority members of the council to provide us opportunity, give us a chance to discuss freely the intention of the minority regarding the changes of the rules and regulation. That's why I'm asking in the democratic process, Madam Chair, requesting the majority to give us freely deliberation in our internal rules and regulation. That would be all, Madam Chair.
Councilor Joey Abu, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, since already, thank you very much for the recognition. Since there is already a lot of motion, secondary to the main motion, Madam Chair, may I just ask for a recess so that everybody can convene and talk about it, Madam Chair.
Okay, recess for 10 minutes. Session resumed. Please be seated. May I request everybody to sit down. Session resumed. Okay, discussions had been exhausted. So what is the pleasure of the body? Councilor Edgar Cabanlas?
I am respectfully registering my objection to the motion and move for the voting of the motion, Madam Chair.
So there is an objection seconded by Councilor Roger Abaday. So let us divide the house. Those who are in favor of the motion of Councilor Joey Abu of the internal rules, no, appendix A-1, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those who will not vote for the, who is against the internal rules of the City Council as motioned by Attorney Councilor Joey Abu, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 11, 12. Okay, 12. So, so motion is lost. Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
Having lost the motion, I move for the approval of the proposed resolution 2021-1 prescribing the rules of procedure of the 20th City Council of Cagayan de Oro to govern the conduct of each business. Appendix A, pages 1 to 18. Madam Chair.
There is a motion on approving of the internal rules of 20th City Council of Appendix A, pages 1 to 18 by Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Second? Seconded by Councilor Roger Abaday. Any objection? Attorney, Councilor James Judy. Let's open for discussion. Councilor James Judy, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas, I'm sorry.
I respectfully move to stop any other discussion on this matter and move directly to voting, there being an objection.
Thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. But I'd rather that we need to discuss the objection of Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. The motion of Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Councilor Pepe Abu Jr.
Hello. Thank you, Madam Chair. Since we are already discussing the proposal of 2022-1 Appendix A submitted by the majority bloc, I'd like to object as well, interpose my objection here, Madam Council, because after reviewing the said proposed resolution, I found perhaps several provisions which I think, to my mind, is how do I say this? Perhaps it would be not inclusive with respect to the minority bloc, Madam Chair. To cite a few, if I may, like Section 9 of the proposed resolution from the majority bloc, that this talks about the minority floor leader. There shall be a minority floor leader who shall be elected from the members of the minority party, subject to the confirmation by the body. I think, Madam Chair, that since this is already involves the minority, and as you compare it to the provision of the majority floor, wherein it should be elected by, of course, the majority members of the council, perhaps we can, in this provision, let the minority decide among themselves who would be the minority floor leader, and would not subject with the approval or confirmation of the body. Secondly, Madam Chair, as pointed earlier, like Section 15 of the said proposed resolution, which talks about the ex officio members. As compared, I made a comparison with the internal rules of procedure adopted by the 19th City Council, wherein it includes the presiding pro tempore and the minority floor leader as ex officio members in all standing committees. But obviously, in this provision, there is no representation from the minority. And also, the sectoral representatives, which allows the ex officio members of this august body to hold standing committees, and which I think later on will be discussed when we proceed to the, I think, the third agenda regarding the chairmanships of the committees. So it would be proper to raise it later on. But and some other provisions, Madam Chair, that might be discussed. And I would like to relinquish my post to that of Councilor James Judy to proceed, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Joey Abu. Now, I recognize Councilor James Judy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Taking off from where Councilor Abu left, it has something to do with Section 16. So ako lang ning hinahinayon ato ni hubad sa Bisaya para masayran sa katawhan sa dakbayan sa Cagayan de Oro. Kaya importante kini nga dokumento ang atong gatukion karon. Kani ang maglangkob o magdumala sa unsa ang patakaran o operasyon sa atong konseho sa 20th City Council sa tibok natong termino paingon sa 2025. Isa sa akong nakita, Section 16, Sectoral Representatives. Nag-ingon din akong basahon, i-quote ang maong balaod. The sectoral representatives, or sa ilang sugyot, proposal, sa majority, the sectoral representatives, ex officio members of the City Council, namely, President of the Liga ng mga Barangay and President of the City SK Federation may be elected or assigned to become chairperson, vice chairperson, or members of the City Council, standing committees, special committees, or ad hoc committees as the case may be, aside from those committees or sectors they represent as provided for by law. Dini ang akong nakita nga mga bikit. Wala may problema to, gitagaan man ta sa local government code kagawasan. Ang matag konseho sa paghimo, pagpanday sa internal rules of procedure, pero adunay limitasyon atong tatawon. Kaya nag-ingon inani, na limitasyon. Oo, they may have the numbers, the majority. Oo, kami sa minority, we may be outnumbered but definitely not outgunned. Kay naa kanamo ang balaod. Nagsulti ang balaod din na ako nakita ang bikil kabahin sa sectoral representatives. tataw man din nga ang girepresentahan, with all due respect to Mr. President Yan Lam Lim, nga siya ang nagrepresentar sa ABC. With all due respect po kang Councilor John Michael Seno, siya ang nagrepresentar sa sektor sa Kabatanunan kun SK. Apan wala sila gipili direktamente sa katawhan. Busa kung tanaw nimo maski mismo sa agenda nato, duha ka frames diha. Sa unang frame, makita nimo 16 ka mga konsihal. Ang denomination or nomenclature nga tawag regular members. 8 or 8 sa first district, 8 pod sa segundo distrito, 8 times 2 na kay 16. Sa ikaduha nga frame, makita nimo dinhi napata dinhi sa for your reference sa akong mga kauban dinhi sa konseho. Naadan dia ubos nga bahin, nailista duha ka buok pangalan. President Yan Lam Lim, President John Michael Seno. Ex officio ang tawag nila. Ex officio, bot pa sa bot. Dili sila sama namo nga regular members nga gipili direktamente sa katawan. Sila ex officio. Wala sila gipili sa ilang individual capacity. Gipili sila kay sila ang nagrepresentar sa sektor nga gimanduan na adya sa balaod. Dini, atong tarungon, ingon ang Wikipedia, sugod sa ta dini, for the education of my colleagues in this august chamber, Wikipedia defines it, unsa ang ex officio. From office by virtue of office. It refers to an authority derived from official character merely, not expressly conferred upon the individual character, but rather annexed to the official position. Ex officio likewise denotes an act done in an official character or as a consequence of. Case law defines, balaod, jurisprudence, nagingon. Matod pa, para reference sa tanan, GR number 156982, September 8, 2004, National Amnesty Commission versus Commission on Audit o Juanito G. Espino. Nag-ingon ang maong case law. Gidefine kung unsa ang ex officio. The term ex officio means from office by virtue of office. It refers to an authority derived from official character merely, not expressly conferred upon the individual character, but rather annexed to the official position. Mr. President Yan Lam Lim, with all due respect, I understand. You are simply ex officio nga kagawad. Your principal function is as president of the ABC. With all due respect, John Michael Seno, you are an ex officio. You are simply representing the youth sector. Matod pa din klaro na ko. Ang balaod nga naglingkod si Konsihal or Mr. President John Michael Seno, ang RA 10742. An act establishing reforms in the SK, creating enabling mechanisms for meaningful youth participation in nation building and for other purposes. Namugna, na-approve mamang balaod, July 27, 2015. Para sa reference sa akong mga kauban din adto gani mo sa section 22 sa maong balaod. Section 22, para po A, para po B, para po C. Nagingon ang unang para po ang A. The duly elected president of the Sangguniang Kabataan, that refers to you, Mr. President John Michael Seno, at all levels shall serve as ex officio member of the Sangguniang Bayan, Sangguniang Panlungsod, and Sangguniang Panlalawigan, respectively. Further, padayon, sa para po B, he or she, again referring to you, Councilor or Mr. President John Michael Seno, he or she.
James. Point order. May I request Councilor James?
These are all points.
No. Not to directly point to you, direct that
I
to
understand.
the presiding officer. Okay?
Address to the chair.
Address.
Thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Please direct
Yes, Madam
your
Chair.
statement.
Paragraph B. He or she, again referring to to Mr. President John Michael Seno. He or she shall be the chairperson of the Committee on Youth and Sports Development. Tataw ang mga balaod in the said sanggunian. And a regular member of the Committees on Education, Environment, Employment and Livelihood, Health, and Anti-Drug Abuse and Gender and Development. Paragraph C. He or she shall serve as ex officio member of the local school board, local council for the protection of children development council, local health board, local tourism council, and local peace and order council. Padayon, RA 7160, Section 494, kabahin sa definition sa ex officio membership in the Sanggunians. Tanawangin yung local government code. Nag-ingon, and I quote, the duly elected presidents of the Liga at the municipal, city, and provincial levels, including the component cities and municipalities of Metro Manila, shall serve as ex officio members of the Sangguniang Bayan, Sangguniang Panlungsod, Sangguniang Panlalawigan, respectively. They shall serve as such only during their term of office as presidents of the Liga chapters, which in no case shall be beyond the term of office of the Sanggunian concerned. I restate, ang klaro ani nga balaod nga nagsulti sa maong Section 494 of RA 7160, tataw nagsulti, og baliko nako. They, referring to Mr. President Yan Lam Lim and Mr. President John Michael Seno, they shall serve only during their term of office as presidents of the Liga chapters, which in no case shall be beyond the term of office of the Sangguniang concerned. Mr. President Yan Lam Lim, Mr. President John Michael Seno, they were elected by the respective federation or sector in the 19th City Council. They are here merely because of the holdover doctrine of the law, para walay interruption in the exigency of public service, merely tolerated by law. So they're here. They are not regular members in the first place. And even as ex officio, they are here simply to continue because there is no election yet in the respective sector. Sa pagpadayon, nag-ingon amang balaod, while ABC presidents could remain as such after blank because their term of office as ABC presidents have not yet ended, their term of office as members of the Sanggunian has expired. Padayon, sa maong doktrina sa balaod, Raul Galarosa versus Honorable Eudarlio Valencia, GR number 10945, 5 November 11, 1993. And I quote, that upon cessation from office of the elective Sanggunian, referring to the regular members or the elected members of the Sanggunian of the 19th City Council, again, that upon cessation from office of the elective Sanggunian members, these ex officio members, again, referring to Mr. President Yan Lam Lim, Mr. President John Michael Seno, these ex officio members shall likewise cease to hold office upon the election and qualification of their successors, since they cannot serve beyond the end of the term of office of the elective members, referring to the regular or elected members of the 19th or the previous City Council or the 19th City Council. Case law, Las Pinas versus Santos, GR number 83520, June 23, 1988. Kadugon versus Singguat Guerra, GR number 85884, March 9, 1989. Again, unsay gingon diha, holdover doctrine in the exigency of public service. Klarohon ko ni. Oo, adunay katungod. Adunay autonomy ang matag konseho sa pagpanday sa atong kaugalingon nga internal rules of procedure apan adunay limitasyon nakasitar sa balaod. dili ta pwede mulabaw or ang atong internal rules of procedure maamo man sa minority or sa majority, dili pwede ang unsay provision nga nakalati diya nga atong sugyot nga mulabaw sa local government code. Kay kung i-insist sa majority, that would contravene or be in violation of this specific provision, Section 494 of the Local Government Code or RA 7160. I ask the majority, if you insist on it, I have no choice. I will be constrained to file a case with the Department of the Interior and Local Government and file an injunction case with the regular court to enjoin the majority from proceeding with their ultra vires act, because we have no power to provide or make any section or provision in our internal rules of procedure in contravention of the local government code. Wala ta gipili kita dinis katawan, wa man ta gipili gigitanaw nga akong pilion si Councilor Edgar Cabanlas kay majority o si Councilor James Judith kay minority. Gipili kitang tanan dinhi kay ato ang katuyuan nga maalagaran ang katawan sa dakbayan, katawhan labaw sa tanan. Wala ta nagtanaw ani ang ako lang ang balaod. Wala mi naglangan-langan dinhi. Ang amo gusto namo nga maisubay sa balaod kay dili ko gusto nga ako mga kauban. Kita ang tanan matumpawak dinhi nga mga kasuhan kita kay wa kita nagtuman sa unsay nakalagda sa local government code. Akong hangyo sa akong mga kauban sa majority. Wala mi naglangan-langan, sir. Dili ang amo lang ang katuyuan nga naisubay kita sa balaod. Kana ang dakong pangutana. Kana ang talinghaga, ngano mang yun atong supako ng balaod. Ngano mag-insister man kita. O ilabay pa you're passing the buck pagid ninyo sa amo nga kami ang naglangan-langan. Dili. Wala mi naglangan-langan, sirs, ladies and gentlemen. Ang amo lang ang katuyuan, ato bang naalagaran ang katawan. Kini lang. Akong hangyo sa inyo. If you insist on it, remember, tataw ang provision sa balaod. Tataw ang case law. So again, if you insist, the majority insists, then I will have no choice. I will be constrained to file a case with the court and with the DILG to clear the matter once and for all. Asdang Cagayan de Oro.
Ma'am, your microphone, ma'am.
Thank you, Councilor James Judith. Let us continue the discussion. Councilor Ayan Mark Nakaya, you're recognized.
Dugay naman ko aning council. Pero mura to nga litania sa mga balaod ug mga regulations mga wa ko kakitag connect sa subject matter, Madam Presiding Officer. The concern of Councilor James Judith is the chairmanship, membership, the provisions that we have provided under the rules that we are proposing before the August body is to allow the ex-officio members to sit as chairperson upon election. And sa gilitan niya, murag way ako nakita dito nga disallow holdover capacity, membership being an ex-officio. But it does not say, Madam Chair, that ex-officio members are excluded from the participation of the sectors they represent and be elected by the members of the council. Yes, they are ex-officio. Yes, they being the president represent their respective sectors and offices. But as representatives, they are also member. In fact, they have the same salary as what we are receiving, Madam Presiding Officer. That's the case in point. And may I read to you ang kaning sakto nga connection. Opinion Legal Service of the Department of Interior and Local Government. It's 2 pages. But again, the Sangguniang Panlalawigan of First District Negros Oriental asked the DILG on prior to July 11, 2011, when this legal department issued the opinion as regards the chairmanship of elected chairman of their Sanggunian, the ex-officio members, the ABC president, On the second page, Madam Chair, may I read? After discussing that ex officio members are supposedly non-partisan, in other words, they should not be included in the counting. But again, the same legal department of DILG saying on the first paragraph of second page, however, there is an exemption to this general rule. That is, if the sangguniang panlalawigans duly approved internal rules of procedure expressly allows the ex officio members relative to the representation of Councilor Yan Lamlim and Councilor John Michael Seno do so. Hence, if your IRP, internal rules of procedure, allows ex officio members to become members of the standing committees that may otherwise be created by the SP, then this provision shall prevail. On the contrary, if your IRP limits the membership of ex officio members to those allowed under the law, this provision prevails. Kung wala gibutang, dili sad pwede sila. Pero kung ibutang, pwede sad sila ma-chairman, ma-elected chairman. If your Sangguniang IRP failed to address the issue, the chairman and members for each committee shall be elected from among its regular members. Kung wala gibutang, regular members ra ang pwede ma-elected. Kung gibutang, pwede sila ma-elected ang ex officio members sa chairmanship, vice chairmanship, o membership sa committee ba. That's the right connect, Madam Chair. I would like to forward this to the city secretary for the city secretary to distribute the legal opinion of DILG to all members, majority and minority, so that all will know that there is already a decided opinion as regards the matter, because even the local government code, Madam Chair, even those provisions, even those opinions read by Councilor James have not mentioned whether or not they're allowed or disallowed to chairmanship or membership.
Thank you, Councilor Ayan Mark Nakaya. Councilor James Judith, you are recognized. I saw the hand of Councilor Alam Lim. Would you like to speak after Councilor James Judith? No more. Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, perhaps it's Councilor Nakaya who does not get the right connection. I think the signal is poor. Now, Madam Chair, I did not state that Mr. President Yan Lamlim or Mr. President John Michael Seno should not be in this session. What I was very clear about was that they should not usurp the committee chairmanships of the regular members. I did not say they could not be regular members of committees. And I did not also say that they should be barred from joining or participating in the discussion or deliberation of the city council. I guess that's what Councilor Nakaya did not get. Poor signal, I suppose.
Thank you, Councilor James Judith.
Just a rejoinder, Madam Presiding Officer. A rejoinder to
You
the
wait for me to
position.
recognize you. I've been
Okay.
recognizing you, so just wait, okay? I am calling for Councilor Roger Abaday.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Okay, it is not also proper that one of the colleagues here in our city council will threaten us for a suit that we are doing here independently. That's why we are here to formulate laws and order. Nangabot na sa mesa ombudsman o Supreme Court. Okay, okay man tong kuan mga jurisprudence or probation. Pero James Judith as a lawyer, he knows that there are there are exceptions to the rule. As what cited by Councilor Nakaya, those are the ILG ruling. In fact, in my own research, okay, yes, the sources of parliamentary rules or procedure in the Sanggunian as a legislative or deliberative body are arranged in the order of hierarchy. The first is the 1987 Constitution, and the second is the local government code, wherein we belong as under supervision of DILG. Then judicial decision, adopted internal rules and procedures of Sanggunian Panglusod, which we adopt regularly, the parliamentary practice, parliamentary authors, and customs and usage. Under the local code, a city or city council, Sangguniang Panglusod, may adopt by ordinance or resolution in its own set of rules governing the conduct of the council meetings. Or it may adopt by reference formalized rules such as the Robert rules or the Mason's rules or other rules, supplementing those rules with additional rules on issues that we may have to adopt, Madam Chair and my colleague. That is my own opinion with regards to the comments of our colleagues, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Roger Abaday. I'm calling for Councilor Ayana Chas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I would like to move to remove our internal rules and delegation that the ex officio shall have other committees than he represents, Madam Chair, so that the committee will
Councilor
be
Roger Abaday,
shared
please sit
equally to the members of the City Council, Madam Chair. That's why I would like to move in the presence of this chamber to exclude them in the extra committees that they have in the previous council, Madam Chair. That would be all, Madam Chair.
Okay, the motion is seconded. There's objection? Objection? By Councilor Alam Lim. Yeah, objection. So since there's an objection, seconded by Councilor Roger Abaday. So since there's an objection, one second. Okay, since there's an objection, no, let us, of the amendment, so let us divide the House. Point of order, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
Madam Chair, the proposal of Councilor Chas is in a form of an amendment. Amendment follows after the debate. So it's out of order. So we cannot vote on that. Madam Chair, may I say something on the issue? Yes, there are matters that were mentioned by Councilor Joey and Councilor James, and I think we can tackle that in a special committee later on. In the Mandaluyong City rules, house rules, there was a specific injunction that no ex officio member of the city council will be appointed to a regular committee, except those committees assigned to them by law. So there was that injunction, but there is no prohibition for us to create, to appoint them if it is found in our rules. So wala problema. But I would like to suggest that di katong giingon ni Joey nga about katong committee, kung meron to kayo, di man to kayo problema. So I would like to move that we cease all discussions and debate and vote on the issue, and then as a subsidiary motion later on, which will become part of the other matters, would be to create that committee, special committee, that would review all these suggestions of James and also of Joey, and we will discuss this in a more formal, informal way over a cup of coffee. So aron nga dili na tama langan. Okay? Okay? Para nga kung magsigit ng discuss, nga katong suggestion ni Councilor Atsas, then we will talk about it sa atong ad hoc committee that we will create later on as part of the special other matters. So I move to stop further discussion. I think everybody has said his piece, and let's go to voting. Let's go to voting, and if there is an objection, if there are no objection, then we adopt the house rules of the 28th City Council, subject to that friendly provision later on that we will organize in ad hoc committee that will be composed of lawyers, Councilor Nakaya, and we'll talk about all this gagmay nga butang. Okay? Thank you very much.
Okay.
Move to stop all discussions, as we have talked already a lot, and let's go to voting if there is a serious objection.
Councilor Edgar Cabanlas, I'm giving, thank you very much. I'm giving a 5-minute recess again. I'm calling for Councilor Cabanlas and Councilor Attorney James. Judith, thank you. Okay, let's resume the session. Resume. Session resume. Since there is a motion to divide the house, since there's an objection, so let us divide the house for the amendment of Councilor Ayana Chas. Asan ko ba? Wala pa. Those who are in favor of the amendment by Councilor Ayan Achas, please raise your hand. Six. So those who are not in favor of the amendment of Councilor Ayan Achas, please raise your right hand. Twelve. So amendment is defeated. Any other amendment? Any other amendment? Yes, Councilor James Judith.
Madam Chair, I move to amend on Section 5 of the majority's internal rules. This is an amendment there too, Madam Chair. I would like to introduce an amendment to Section 5, Rule 3 on the powers and duties of the presiding officer. I would like to add one of the powers and duties of the presiding officer, which should follow item D. So Section 5 will now read in item E as confer with the Secretary of the Sangguniang Panglungsod from time to time as to what matters to be included or excluded in the agenda. Succeeding items will now follow the sequence starting with letter F and so on and so forth.
Any second motion? I'm sorry. Second motion? Seconded by Councilor Malvern Esparsha. Let's proceed with the discussion. Councilor Attorney James Judith.
Madam Chair, thank you for recognizing me. I bring this additional amendment because by tradition of this Honorable Council, until the last 19 City Council, one of the powers of the presiding officer, our elected city vice mayor, is to confer with the Secretary of the Sangguniang Panlungsod from time to time as to what matters to be included or excluded in the agenda. The purpose of this provision is for an efficient and effective delivery of legislative services to the people of Cagayan de Oro. I could not find the logic why the proponent from the majority group removed this particular power of the presiding officer in conferring with our city secretary in the preparation of the agenda of the sessions in the city council. In the legislative branch of the local government unit, in this part of the city, in this entire building and in this session floor, there is only one elected person who has the inherent and express power to perform functions on how this branch will be properly administered, managed, and controlled. And that is the vice mayor only. This power is with the authority and consent of the people of Cagayan de Oro. Walay maski usa ka pinili nga konsehal gikan sa majority and the minority who can perform that task. Kini nga gahom iya lang ug wala nay lain diha sa atong vice mayor. Why are we removing this power of the vice mayor to confer with the secretary? That is the question. Does the majority want to create a political conflict with the vice mayor and the city secretary? If we are going to remove this power, our city will become the laughing stock of all major cities of the entire country. Kaya ang giputlan sa konseho o gahom, ang vice mayor nga makigduyog sa atong sekretary diha sa pagdumala sa atong mga sessions. Apan sigurado ako sa kalidad sa atong vice mayor, dili gyud kini siya muuyon ni ining pamaagi. Apan ang konseho nag-ahatag ani nga kagubot. The vice mayor is the manager. The vice mayor is the administrator. And the vice mayor is the chief executive of the entire legislative branch of the city government of Cagayan de Oro. Under the vice mayor's administration, management, and control, ang tanang opisina ug kawani sa sangguniang panlungsod. Apil ang opisina sa City Secretary o gani apil ang opisina sa tagsa-tagsa ka mga konsehal. If we will remove this power from the Vice Mayor, unsa may gusto natong mahitabo? Ipakontra nato ang City Secretary sa Vice Mayor? O kunuhay kay base sa mando sa konseyo nga dili mag-confer ang City Secretary sa Vice Mayor? Mupirma ka ang Vice Mayor sa accomplishment report sa City Secretary? Kay dili mo tuo sa sugo sa Vice Mayor? Dili ba kini insubordination? Masilduhan ka ang atong City Secretary. Kinsa may naghimo ani nga kagubot? Ang majority members of this council. Kana ang atong pagkahinuktukan.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor James Judith. Councilor Malvern Esparsha.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the recognition. Just to add sa sentiment ni Konsehal Attorney James Judith. Again, para maklaro ninyo, I'll just read this rule number 3 sa presiding officer section 5 letter F para masabtan ninyong tanan. Ang ginabutang karon gusto nga ibutang nila sa presiding officer is to recognize any member who is recommended for recognition for the floor by the majority floor leader. Sa Bisaya pa, nga para masabtan. Nga, para ni karon wala pa man tay majority floor leader. Ang ilang gusto, nga ang majority floor leader, siya mo recognize. So, gikan sa Vice Mayor, ipaagi pa sa majority floor leader, aya pa i-recognize ang mga konsihal. So, kaniday karon munang gusto nila nga ipasa na ni diretso, kaya di na sila ganahan nga, pareaning karon. Kung gusto pa tag-discussion, butar na din ta diretso, patyo na din nato, Madam Chair. Asa man ang demokrasya na? Unom na lang galing may kabuok. Di pa may paistoryahon. Mga karaan pag yun ni sila din eh. Tagay po chance ng mga bata, mga bago, pero halang. Pasensya na, Madam Chair, we're not delaying this, to be honest. Naanad lang siguro sila, Madam Chair, nga gadali-dalion ang sesyon. What we're talking right now, again, diri nakasalalay ang atong pagbuhat og balaod para sa dakbayan sa Cagayan de Oro City. Diri pa lang, if we are not democratic, gitamas-tamasan ang minority, to be honest, lalimang ka. Ang power sa Vice Mayor, muagi pa. And I think kaya kayo na, nimo Madam Chair, as Vice Mayor. Mola na nga akong gusto. Nga to ni, to our dear councilors, I know you guys, maskaraan mo, kulba na kayo mo. But again, Madam Chair, let's do this. That's why, gusto na ko nga suportahan to move. Nga wala o na ni. To amend this. Daghang salamat, Madam
you.
Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Malvern Esparsha. Councilor Joey Abu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think we are really having how do I say this? But may I move, Madam Chair, once and for all, that for our recess, I would like to convene the members of the minority and talk to them.
Okay.
Please.
5 minutes. Okay, calling for 5 minutes recess.
Actually, that is very unparliamentary. Yung tangwa niya, itong buyagot tong style Bernie. Grabe.
Session is resumed. There's a pending motion, there's a pending amendment of Councilor James Judith. Any further discussion? Councilor Calizo?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon to my colleagues and to our spectators at the back. The motion of, with due respect to the motion of Councilor Judith, where he manifested that as if we have already taken away the power, the authority of the vice mayor over looking into and affecting changes if as she desires, if there's something wrong with the agenda that will be taken up on the incoming session. I think it has been through so many councils that the one preparing the agenda is the Committee on Laws and Rules. And this does not mean that the powers of the vice mayor to look into and confer with the secretary is already taken out. I may ask Councilor Judith, where in the provisions did we specify that such powers have been taken out in the proposed rules?
Councilor James Judith is recognized.
Councilor Calizo, it has reference to Section 5 of the internal rules of the majority.
Can you read the specific provision, Madam Chair? Can we request Councilor Judith to read the specific provisions? Because if indeed there's a specific provision, then I will always support the motion of Councilor Judith. Because I've read the entire provisions of the rules. I can see no specific provision, Madam Chair.
Councilor James Judith?
Item E, Councilor Calizo, has to do with item E. Confer with the Secretary of the Sangguniang Panlungsod from time to time as to what matters to be included or excluded in the agenda. The proposal is that my amendment in item E, as confer with the Secretary of the Sangguniang Panlungsod from time to time as to what matters to be included or excluded in the agenda. That's what we wanted to modify or amend.
Madam Chair, there's already specific law in RA 7160. Is there a need to specify it there in the rules? If this already appears in the general rule, I think it is already what you call this? It is already implied as a power of the vice mayor there's no need to specify it in the rule because this law is already existing in the general rules provided for in 7160, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Romeo Calizo. Councilor James Judith, please respond.
Councilor Calizo, this specific provision was included in the previous city council, in the internal rules of the 19th city council. You remove this.
Councilor Romeo Calizo, please.
Clearly, it is removed, Madam Chair, because there's no need to specify it there. Do you think deleting that provision already takes away the power of the Vice Mayor? Sa atong pagtuo ba, tangtangan na, wala power atong Vice Mayor? Na naman specified dito sa General Rules in Republic Act 7160. Wala gusto pa sabot, tungod kinawala ni Ana, di na siya makaistorya kang Mr. De San Miguel, nga angay ani nga tangtangon, anay ni ibutang, ako ang Vice Mayor.
Councilor James Judy.
With all due respect, Councilor Calizo, we have a legal doctrine. I think Attorney Abo and Attorney Cabanlas know this. Use them generis. Kung wala gali nimo nabutang sa imong gisite diha, but pasabot na wala. Mo nang itataw ginato nga imo ginang ibutang para walay lalis. Para lang nga malikaya nato ang mga unsa pa nga misinterpretation. Mo na nga gusto na mo ga-insister me nga ibutang na kabalo man ta. Pero mas maayo nang matataw kay dokumento man ni base nato ang i-use them generis.
Can you respond? Councilor
Yes,
Romeo
Madam
Calizo?
Chair.
Okay.
Well, if by our legal experts here, that's really required, then I submit to the observation of Councilor James Judith, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Romeo Calizo. Further discussion? Councilor, who raised first? Councilor Agasuan.
Thank you for the recognition, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I don't want to make any motions anymore. I just want to say something, and we'll try to bring this home after my short talk. I will yield the floor to Councilor Joey Abo. I just want the public to know, and also the majority. Now, we are not against you. We are not against anyone in this council. Ang among purpose is we want to practice the doctrine of shared responsibility. Both pasabot na as much as losing sa numbers because we are the minority, we implore the majority to at least consider the voice of the minority because the obligation of the majority is to hear and to protect the minority, and the minority has to be heard. Actually, I want to address the public in Bisaya. Kini among ginabuhat mga katawan sa Cagayan de Oro, kini among paglalis, it is a good indication. It is a good sign nga we are going somewhere. Kini nga mga lalis dili nibot pasabot na kontra mi, but naami plano para sa Cagayan de Oro. Guwapo ang first step. This session is good. I love the debates, and these are the dangers of having intelligent people in the council. So with that being said, I will yield this floor to my colleague, Councilor Attorney Joey Abo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Agasuan. Councilor Joey Abu, you're recognized.
Hello. Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to add, I've noticed in the proposed resolution for the internal rules of procedure submitted by the majority bloc that the Robert's rules, Robert's rules of order is suppletory in its implementation. Meaning to say, you can also make reference to it. No? And under parliamentary law, the purpose why we have this is to ensure the rights of the majority. And as well, to protect the rights of the minority. These are the reasons why we pointed out these provisions, that hopefully it would be taken or perhaps be reconsidered by the majority bloc. And as per discussion a while ago with Councilor Ed Cabanlas, I move, Madam Chair, to divide the House, and hopefully what was discussed a while ago, that there would be a creation for a ad hoc committee in which representatives from the majority and representatives from the minority would come together and discuss the provisions that were raised for amendments, so that it would be considered perhaps later on after everything is ironed out, present it to the body for approval, and we will live and proceed happily. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
There's still a pending amendment by Councilor James Judith. No? So let us first, if there's any more discussion or no more, or any objection for the first amendment to Councilor James Judith.
I understand that Councilor Abo has a big role in the minority, and he just manifested that he is agreeing with going everything to the submission to the body, the entire proposal, and if this proposal would be considered by, of course, majority decision, the sideline proposal that the minority is expecting is to have an ad hoc committee that will tackle any and all proposals in the future that would tinker what we are considering right now. And if that is so, we may no longer consider the proposal of Councilor James Judith. Will take the entire proposal of the under appended A. There's no A-1, just A. And let's agree, as one of the senior members of the majority, I also agree that we will sit down. But let's have an wholesale already consideration of the pending proposal. And if Councilor Judith would yield, withdraw his proposal, let's no longer decide the proposal of Councilor Judith. Let it be submitted to the ad hoc committee. So that's my understanding of the statements manifested by Councilor Abo. Is that the correct appreciation? Let's go to the main proposal. Councilor Judith will yield, and let's create, after the third item, an ad hoc committee. Is that the correct appreciation from the majority?
Thank you, Councilor Ian Mark Nakaya. So I would like to ask Councilor James Judith whether you're going to withdraw the proposed amendment subject to the ad hoc committee.
If that be the case, Madam Chair, yes, then I will yield and withdraw my amendment to the as my amendment is the main motion as to this particular amendment to the main motion. Yes, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor James Judith. Let's proceed now. Councilor Jose Abu, please.
Just to add up, Madam Chair. It is not necessary that I'm proposing the division of the House, or moving for the division of the House, because I agree to the proposals of the majority. It's just that I'm trying to think of another avenue for us to discuss on this matter properly. That is why, with the conversation with Councilor Edgar Cabanlas, that after this, we would be creating an ad hoc committee to discuss the proposed, perhaps the proposed amendments and the provisions of the proposal submitted by the majority. Because we are just trying to point out, Madam Chair, that I hope that this 20th City Council will be inclusive. That's just our point in our drive. As I have cited a while ago, like the provisions where the minority was removed as compared to the 19th City Council, we're just trying to ask perhaps the members of the majority to give us the chance to work with you. That is all we ever want. Because precisely we have the majority and the minority because we lack the numbers. All we just want to have is as everybody would agree, I would presume, that we should work as one and harmonious city council. And that's why I was interposing this objection earlier. Because perhaps we are starting in the wrong foot by it seems like the minority were alienated by removing these provisions or not giving them representations in committees. So perhaps in the ad hoc committee, we can discuss on this and we can have a working majority and minority block in the city council, Madam Chair. So again, I reiterate my previous motion to divide the house and end this.
Thank you, Councilor Joey Abu. Yes, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
Thank you very much for the information and the harmony that is being molded now among the members of City Council. As if there is no more minority or majority. Everybody is a member of the City Council. Madam Chair, I think there is no objection.
Okay.
So there's no need to divide the house.
Thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. So motion carried. Oh, lagi. You have to bear with me. I'm very new to this. So thank you very much, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. So, Mr. Secretary, what is the next item?
The second item on the agenda proper is proposed resolution number 2022-2, electing the officers of the 20th City Council of Cagayan de Oro. Please refer to Appendix B for the proposal of the majority and Appendix B1 for the proposal of the minority bloc.
So there is this resolution number 2022-2, electing the officers of 20th City Council of Cagayan de Oro City. Calling for Councilor Ayan Achas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I would like to move the proposal of our new leaders, the new leadership of this council, to propose for our majority floor leader and our chairmanship in every committee. But before that, Madam Chair, officers, majority, and let me clarify, Madam Chair, to the election of the majority and minority floor leaders. Madam Chair, it has been observed today that there is one fellow councilman who among us can give us unity among members of the minority and the majority. I believe, Madam Chair, that this person has a good father in him. He can move, he can unite, he can blend to the minority, and he can also discuss freely without hesitation to every members of the minority of this council. Madam Chair, I would like to express freely to be the honored that this man should be the leader of this council, because this man can give harmonious relationship between members of the City Council. Madam Chair, I would like to propose that our presiding officer of the officer to pro tempore will be Honorable Jose Pipiabo, Attorney Jose Pipiabo, and our majority floor leader will be one and only our distinguished member of this council, Honorable Attorney Ed Cabanlas, Madam Chair. And also, I would like to propose our assistant majority leader, a minority floor leader, Attorney James Judith, Madam Chair. So that would be all, Madam Chair. I hope I hope that Attorney Ed Cabanlas, together with the members, to accept the challenge as the new floor leader of this council, Madam Chair.
There's this motion by Councilor Ayan Achas. Who's second? Okay, Councilor Agasuan. Discussion. Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
You know, I am so flattered. I cannot believe that Councilor Achas would make that motion. I decline the nomination. Thank you very much for the nomination. Thank you very much. But I am thinking of a broader spectrum of the dynamics of the city council. It is not for personal motivation that I should accept. In fact, I would like to sit down again on my chair there at the back. Madam Chair, there is some bigger reason why I should decline. I think you understand. I told you that. So therefore, please exempt me from that position. The majority floor leader is elected and selected by the members of the majority. Please do not remove that prerogative from us. Although I really appreciate that very much, Councilor. And the members of the minority, ako namin nun yung gimo natin. Sana namin. Bitaw, salamat kayo. Pero matay, naipay dako nga rason nga nung dili. It's for the harmony of the entire city council that I am declining. Thank you very much, Madam.
Thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Any more discussion? Attorney James Judith, Councilor Attorney James Judith.
Para kang Councilor Cabanlas, ang dako nako nga talinghaga kay nganong dili nimo dawaton, why are you not up to the challenge nga ikaw man ang among gila, maski gani kami sa minority, kami na nang sugyot nga ikaw ang mahimong majority floor leader. Kung ang imong katuyon nga nilikay ka sa moong responsibilidad, ingon ka para sa tingwa sa tanan, harmony. Nabusa gani kami na mismo sa minority, kami na gali ang niuyon nga ikaw ang mahimong majority floor leader. So unsa may imong giingon nga para sa harmony mo nimulikay ka, nga mao naman gani ang among gusto kay para magkahiusa ta, kay kampante kami nga ikaw ang mahimong leader sa majority para magkahiusa ta, labi na nga ako nga giilata ka nga senior sa legal profession. Ikaw po ang veterano nga lawmaker, nigikan pagyud ka sa probinsya sa Misamis Oriental, nag-graduate na po ka dito, ni tabok na po ka sa konseho, dini sa Cagayan de Oro, ni graduate na ka, ni balik pag karon, ni mo graduate pag ka sa imong ikaduha bali nga pagbalik, sa imong pagbalik-bali. So unsa pa man gyud, ikaw pag akong gila, tanan na, saludo na ko sa imong mga accomplishments. So kami na ang nagapilar sa minority. Ikaw na lang di ay. Nganong dili man nimo dawaton ang maubali nga hagit para kitang tanan. Wala na majority, wala na minority. Magkausa ta kay kampante kami sa minority nga ikaw ang dapat mahimong majority floor leader.
Thank you, Councilor James Judith. Balak to that. Councilor Bernie Esparcia, you're recognized.
Daghang salamat for that acknowledgement, Madam Chair. Ako mo tan-aw gyud kanimo konsehal. Kung wala mo kabalo, sa una, gajaging pata. That's why I know you so well. Mo bitaw hantod karon, baskog pagayo ka, kay mo ginay mong sikreto. And that's why this is so unlikely maybe to some of you here, to those who are watching, ano, unsa naman yung minority nga, ang ibutaran na may no, ng kanina manong majority. I just want to express this. Honorable Sir Ed Cabanlas, nga tana, you have to accept and you have me. Because I saw you, how you handle sa inyong mga kauban, and maybe because ikaw po do sa kaamahan. And I know, because of your experience, you know how to handle everything. We want this council to be fair, and we want to this council nga mag-unite. As what our mayor said this morning, it was very nice. The message was, oh, ayaw na mo pagap, mag-usap ang tanan. And we were so happy. And muna mong nakita para mas harmonious tang dini, again, Honorable Edgar Cabanlas, attorney, tana dawaton nimo nga ikaw may mahimong majority floor leader. Daghang salamat, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Sparsha. Councilor Ayan Atchas, you're recognized.
Thank you for the recognition, Madam Chair. I would like to add further for the integrity of the floor leader, Attorney Ed Cabanlas. Attorney Ed Cabanlas, may I beg that you will lead us, especially to the minority. Because we need you to lead us. We are young, we can do more, and we can cooperate further in the progress of this legislation. That's why I believe in your wisdom. I always watching you when long before when you say, I will scratch your back and you will scratch mine. This message is clearly that you are telling the minority that you are willing to work hand in hand in the progress of the city council. That's why I believe in you. I believe that we can work harmoniously. I am asking to the majority of this council, give us a chance to work with you, to work harmoniously. Give us a chance to deliver good services for our people. Let us not divide. To our members of the city council, it's time to mend our broken hearts. Panahon na siguro nga ato nang ihupa ang atong kasing-kasing panahon sa eleksyon. Let no walls divide us now. Dili na angayan nga ato pang bulagon ang atong konseho tungod lang sa atong kalikwanhon sa politika. That's why we are asking, Madam Chair, that we need a good father to lead this council. I believe with the wisdom and integrity of our distinguished fellow councilor, Attorney Ed Cabanlas. Attorney Ed Cabanlas, please give us a chance to lead. Give us a chance to work. Give us a chance that we can prove to our people that the city council, the minority, is asking only for service that we can offer for our people. Attorney Ed Cabanlas, we are only asking for a unity. We are only asking that one legislation, one city council, that you may lead us in a proper direction. That's why I believe, Madam Chair, that the only appropriate person to lead this council, this person has a wisdom, experience, can lead, and you can see it today, how his gestures, how he speak, how he resolved the matters in the legislation. That's why, Madam Chair, together with the minority, I believe, and we believe also, that the only person in character that we will build together the legislation for a proper forum and to proper services we can offer to our people, we will be no other than Attorney Ed Cabanlas. That's why, Attorney, nanghangyo mi sa imo, sa minority, nga unta, give us a chance to work. Give us a chance to lead the city council through you. That's why I'm asking this in behalf of the minority, that we together, we can work as one council. That would be all, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Ayan Achas. Attorney James Judith, Councilor James Judith, you are recognized. Next
Madam
is,
Chair, I move
Councilor-
for the division of the House.
Let us divide the house by, but there's still discussion. Shall we proceed with the discussion? Okay, okay, there's already a motion, so let us divide the house. So, okay, let us divide the house. Okay, proceed. Proceed, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
Thank you very much for I'm kabalaka kay naro magapon ko diri. There is no need to divide the house because I declined the nomination. So wala nang I declined the nomination. So wala na kinahanglan nga mag-divide the house kay ang inyong giyon di mo sugot. Kang alam sanay ba din eh. Bitaw, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Councilor Jose Abu.
Nasad ko, sir. Anyway, but for purposes of compliance to the parliamentary rules, there is a need for an objection to the entire proposal so that we can divide the house and then whatever the results would be, I think we presume what will happen, then you can present your proposal in the majority block. I'm sorry. Because I presume, Madam Chair, as I have heard, because I went out, the statement of Councilor Edgar Cabanlas was not really an objection, but a manifestation of his turning down of his recommendation. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Jose Abu. Councilor Ariana Chas.
Madam Chair, before we proceed to our dividing the house, ako lang nang i-clarify, Madam Chair. Basig si Attorney Ed Cabanlas, mahaglok siya nga walay mubutar sa iya kung siya ang pilion nga floor leader. Pwede ba nga ato nang i-cast into a method na gitawag na tog secret balloting kay basig naaday ganahan other than no other than Attorney Ed Cabanlas. Kay basig maulaw siya nga kung mag-election minority rami, unom ray mo butar sa iya. Basig naapaday other members of the city council has the wisdom about Attorney Ed Cabanlas. That would be all, Madam Chair.
As requested by Councilor Ayan Achas, let us divide the house by secret balloting. Okay, let us divide the house by secret balloting. Ano? So how do you do it? Piece of paper? let's continue to divide the House by secret balloting. Let's proceed. Any objection? Councilor Michael Seno. Yeah, discuss your objection.
I am, good afternoon, Madam Presiding Officer, fellow councilors, good afternoon, friends from Nabinia and fellow Cagayanos. May hapon. I'm objecting, Madam Presiding Officer, considering that there was already a manifestation by Attorney Edgar Cabanlas declining for the position of Majority Floor Leader. That is why I'm objecting to the proposal of Councilor Ayan Achas to proceed with the casting of votes via writing, Madam Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Councilor Mike Seno. Let us continue to vote dividing the House through secret balloting. Let's continue.
Point of order.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Ayan.
May I
Nakaya?
state the point of order? First, we appreciate the collective expression of the minority members to give their opinion as to how the majority bloc should be led. And unidentified fellow majority member, Councilor Ed Cabanlas. It's a message to the entire majority bloc. But I do not know where in the parliament, whether national or local or even barangay, that a minority bloc nominates the leadership of the majority. I listened carefully to the proposal in the first item by Councilor Jose Abu that the minority should be governed and the nominations should come from the minority. We respected that. In fact, Councilor Ed Cabanlas approached me and I gave a yes signal because we respect the minority. I hope that the minority bloc will also respect the majority. We have already submitted, signed our proposal. It's again, just like in item 1, we choose either the proposal of the majority or the minority. And the proposal of Councilor Achas has no bearing considering that it's not complete. It's not, he did not even mention whether it's B1 or B in the attachment. So where do we proceed? Again, let's submit it to the body to choose whether it's attachment B proposed by the majority or attachment B1 proposed by the minority. That's the only pending discussion that we should have, Madam Presiding Officer. Because, again, the presiding officer recognized the city secretary to read the agenda, first on item 1, then second on item 2. As he mentioned correctly and appropriately, there's in B, attachment B and attachment B1. And therefore, we should confine with the proposal pending, Mr. Chair, Madam Presiding Officer. To vote, to decide abruptly to another subsidiary motion. That's not how parliamentary procedure proceed. So again, may I call the order of the day? This is a priority statement and motion, Madam Presiding Officer. I move to call the order of the day. And what it means, the motion is a precedent to all any other motions. The order of the day. And the order of the day, it's either B, attachment B, or attachment B1. Again, let me state, I move to call the order of the day. And,
Thank you, Councilor.
we should decide on that first, Madam
Thank you,
Chair.
Councilor Ian Mark Nakaya. The chair rules that we proceed to the secret balloting. I want the secretary to distribute
No,
the papers for the secret balloting for the presiding officer pro tempore, the majority leader, assistant majority leader, minority leader, assistant minority leader. Thank you.
point of order again, Madam Presiding Officer. May I be recognized? It's a point of order. It's an order of precedence. And the motion that I have presented is the motion to call the order of the day. I do not know if your legal counsel practically knows about this parliamentary language. And therefore, that should be decided first. And we cannot. And
I'm
you cannot-
sorry, Councilor Ian Mark Nakaya, the chair already rules that there is a secret balloting and let us proceed, Mr. Secretary.
Move for the
I said that we have to
reconsideration.
proceed.
Move for the reconsideration of the ruling of the presiding officer and ask for the body to decide whether or not the ruling of the presiding officer is correct or wrong. Duly seconded. There's a motion, Madam Presiding Officer.
Kaya, I have already ruled.
No.
I
even-
have ruled
even with
already
your
that there is a
ruling-
secret ballot. We continue.
No.
If
Even
he
with
wins,
your
then he
ruling, there
wins.
was already an objection. In other words, we have to divide the house. Whether
You
or
are not
we
recognized,
proceed.
Councilor Ian Mark
There
Nakaya.
was
Go
an
back to your
objection.
seat.
There was an objection raised by Councilor Seno, whether or not
Parliamentary
it should be
inquiry,
proceeded or not.
Madam Chair, parliamentary inquiry. We have oral.
Excuse me, you are not recognized, Councilor Roger Abadel. Let's continue with the voting with secret balloting.
There was an objection, Madam Presiding Officer.
Proceed. Proceed.
First, we will clarify what are the positions that we are we are voting on. Because
Councilor Edgar Cabanlas, they're voting on again, let me state this. Presiding officer pro tempore. It is in page 42. If you happen to check here, the page 42, appendix B1. So there is the presiding officer pro tempore. There is majority leader. There is assistant majority leader. There is minority leader and assistant minority leader. So proceed to page 42.
now, Madam Chair, I think all the lawyers here will agree with me that the majority floor leader will be elected by the majority. That's the rules. And the minority floor leader will be elected by the minority. Now, if we will allow the minority to elect or to propose who will be the majority floor leader, we might be creating an internal conflict within the majority. That is why the prerogative belongs to the majority to elect their own majority floor leader. So please, let's have decorum and respect each other's rights and prerogatives within the parameters of what is written in the law. So ang mga majority sa kami na magpili. Ang ado tiling pilion sa kanang uban nga dili kinahanglan nga ang minority ug majority mo mapili, Madam Chair.
Councilor Edgar Cabanlas, I understand, but I have already ruled. I have ruled that we have to have secret balloting. Continue with the secret balloting. Thank you.
Madam Presiding Officer.
I said continue with the voting. Continue with the voting. Thank you. I said continue with the voting. Again, I insist, continue with the voting. I have already ruled it, and you know that. I have
There
ruled,
was
continue
Madam
with the
Presiding
voting.
Officer.
So
if I
please
may,
continue with the voting.
You said you have manifested, Madam Presiding Officer, that there will be democracy in the City Council.
There is.
Yes, but I have said my objection, Madam Presiding Officer, and why you continue your ruling.
I'm sorry, you are not recognized. Councilor Michael Seno, please sit down.
I think, Madam Presiding Officer,
I
sorry
said
for this.
you are not recognized. Please sit
Sorry.
down. I have already ruled. Continue with the
I move
voting
for a
now.
recess, Madam Chair. Recess. That is not debatable. I move for the recess. Sorry, Sata.
We will have a recess for 5 minutes. Okay. Council session is resumed. After a short deliberation, there will be changes, no? So I'm calling for Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. And per consensus of among the members of the minority and the majority, the whole body of the City Council will vote for the pro tempore. That means the 18 members of the City Council will elect their own pro tempore. And the majority members of the City Council will elect the majority floor leader and the assistant majority floor leader. The minority bloc will elect their minority floor leader and their assistant minority floor leader in secret voting.
Okay.
In secret voting happen. So
So there is a-
everybody is satisfied, including the vice mayor.
So there is a motion, no? Seconded by Councilor James Judith. So let us now do the secret balloting para mahuman na ta. Mr. Secretary. By minority and majority.
Si Councilor Pascual, yan ano brato niya?
Mr. Secretary, are we done? Are the results in? Okay. So, Mr. Secretary, you're done, no? They're done. So we are going to tally the results. Okay, let's wait for the results. Thank you. Okay, let's have a 5-minute recess where the results are tallied. Thank you. Walay kape?
Ito yung mong gi-picture? Moto?
Ah.
Session resumed. I'm requesting Mr. Secretary to read the result, please. Ano ulit?
Based on the tally of the secret balloting for the presiding officer pro tempore, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas garnered a super majority vote. Then for the majority floor leader, Councilor Ayan Akaya got the full vote of all the majority members. And for the assistant majority floor leader, likewise, Councilor Calizo was unanimously voted by the majority. For the minority floor leader, Councilor Judith was unanimously voted by the minority members, and Councilor Jose Pepe Abo Jr. was voted by the majority as their assistant minority floor leader. So the officers of the city councils are as follows. Presiding officer pro tempore, Councilor Cabanlas; majority floor leader, Councilor Nakaya; assistant majority floor leader, Councilor Calizo; minority floor leader, Councilor Judith; and assistant minority floor leader, Councilor Abo.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Is there a motion to adopt the result? Motion to adopt the result. Councilor Jose Abu.
Madam Chair, I move for the adoption of the said results of the balloting, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Second, seconded by Councilor James Judith. And so motion for the result is carried. Congratulations, everybody. Attorney James Judith, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, it's already 6:26 in the evening. So I move for an adjournment.
Second, Councilor Melvern Sparcia is now adjourned. Session is now adjourned. The chair ruled, so adjourn. Thank you and good night.